Yo.
When we lock you low, Alabama. It's the Alabama show. When we lock you low, it's the Alabama show. When we lock you low, it's the Alabama show. When we lock you low, it's the Alabama show. When we lock you low.
Oh, welcome to a Wednesday edition, a Wednesday special edition of the Allen Powell Show. Since the NBA playoffs, we've been doing things a little different here and there. You never know what day you're going to catch us on, but today is the day. So, my guy Cliff Mason, what's going on, brother?
How's it going? How's it going? You know, glad to be back.
Yeah, man. This is a tough episode to do today, but it had to be done. So before we get into the main topic of today, I just want to mention a few things. We will be talking about NFL Week 1, even though you're boycotting the NFL. I'm gonna give you an update of what's going on there.
All right.
Maya Moore is married to the guy she helped get out, and so I don't know what's going on with that. And he take game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. So we're gonna get all of that
game.
Yes. That was a great game. Great game. But let's lock a load and get into this show, man. The big elephant in the room is the Clippers collapse. The Nuggets finished the comeback down 3-1, game 7, and the Clippers pooped their pants. And that's the best way I can say it. Have you talked to any Clippers fans out in LA?
I had a few students who are Clipper fans, actually.
Okay.
Surprisingly.
And how was that going?
They're disappointed, to say the least. They're kind of, everyone pretty much, the consensus is the Clippers had such high expectations and really just failed mightily to perform. And so I think that is the general view of what we witnessed in terms of a collapse. And I like that you use that term, because there's really no other way to describe not just blowing a 3-1 lead, but the way that they blew those leads. We saw them fold when it mattered most towards the end of the third quarter, literally in every game 5, 6, and 7. It's as if there was a switch flipped in Denver and the off switch was turned on for the Clippers in the last 3 games of that series.
I got a few questions, man, on who's to blame for this. And I want to go down a list because I know somebody got to take the fall for this.
Yep.
And then we got to give credit to the Nuggets, man. We're going to talk about the Nuggets and Jamal Murray and Jokic. But first, who's to blame for the Clippers collapse, in your opinion? And I'm gonna let you just jump it off of who's the biggest to blame for.
So just one name, Paul George. Simple. He didn't show up except for one game the entire playoffs. He was present for game 4 of the Western Conference semifinals. We never saw him in the first round, and we really didn't see him against Denver with the exception of game 4. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, we love to just pass blame on to coaches, and I imagine Doc is on your list to discuss, so I won't say too much, but I don't see how we could attribute this collapse to Doc Rivers. He's a phenomenal coach. He's with the exception of Tom Thibodeau, I don't know if there's a better defensive-minded coach. The team this collapse really is on the team's number 2 superstar. And if you're going to be considered a superstar, you got to perform. And the dude just did not perform. I don't know how the blame is on anyone other than Pandemic P. No more playoff P. He's Pandemic P.
That's one of the bad nicknames that he has gotten all in the memes today. It's a plethora of them. Pandemic P is one. So he's definitely. Like I told you before the show started. When he hit the side of the backboard in the fourth quarter, when you missed that part, but when he did that, that's when I cut it off. I said, I can't take no more. This brother's hitting the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what happened. You can tell that booty cheeks got tight in that game. When the pressure got to the Clippers and they could not do anything. I want to know from the people, who's to blame for the Clippers collapse? Who's to blame for it, and what are your thoughts about the collapse in general? I want to go down the list though. So the next name I want to bring up is Doc Rivers. How does he contribute to this collapse?
He doesn't. And
what?
He
go ahead, and I'm going to come back with you. Go ahead.
So I don't know how we can blame the coach for Paul George hitting the backboard. I mean, we can't blame Doc Rivers for Zubac staying in foul trouble. We can't blame Doc Rivers for Patrick Beverley being inconsistent defending on the perimeter. He's one of the superior perimeter defenders in the league, not just on this squad. So, I mean, to me, this wasn't an X's and O's defeat. It'd be one thing if just strategy, like we go back, I say Phil Jackson lost strategy-wise to the Pistons if we go all the way back to 2003, right? Like I attribute that loss to Phil Jackson, not the Lakers, not the Lakers players. But last night had nothing to do with Doc Rivers. Last night had everything to do with Jamal Murray and what's the tall? Now I'm already
Jokic.
It had to do with those dudes wanting it more. It had to do with those young brothers in Denver saying, you know what, we're not going to die. And I love that my man was like, you know what, give me the ball in a post-game press conference. Like, he wants the ball, give him the ball. And he showed up. Clippers players did not show. Lou Williams missed 3 bunnies in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, I think this is when I turned it off. I saw him miss another point-blank layup, and I'm like, hey, these dudes don't want to win. So I just started watching CNN. I was like, well, I'm going to watch the news because –
So you gonna start watching news. Yeah. Justin Campbell says Leonard! ! Paul George mostly is to blame. He is cursed or something. Just kidding. Leonard is to blame for Game 7. So he says Leonard is to blame. He also says Paul George is mostly to blame, but he says Leonard is to blame for Game 7.
Is this a
hold on? Let me address the Leonard situation.
Okay.
Kawhi Leonard actually looked old, hurt, and tired yesterday.
There's a reason he's tired. What is the average? Like 30 a game these playoffs? Paul George never showed up. So of course Kawhi Leonard's good. I honestly last night in the second quarter, I was like, ooh, this dude looks tired. And then I was like, you know what? He's been carrying a franchise on his back for the past month. Of course he looks tired. Anybody saying Kawhi Leonard's to blame for this loss is out to lunch. I mean, there's no way you could put they would get swept by Denver if not for Kawhi Leonard. There's no way there's any to blame with that man. There is no Clippers without Kawhi Leonard, period.
So let me go back to your other statement. You said Doc Rivers doesn't deserve any blame.
No.
Let me tell you why Doc Rivers deserves blame. For the defense that they was playing on Jokic and Murray. Okay. Yeah. I'm not too mad about the Murray. I don't think there was nothing he could have really done about Murray. But Jokic, you continually double teamed him and giving up threes when you could have been giving up twos, probably contested twos instead of uncontested threes. Like, stop doubling him. If he's going to hit one-legged jumpers on you all day, then just let him hit one-legged jumpers on you. But don't continue to double. Now Paul Millsap hitting threes. Then you got Jeremy Grant hitting threes. And then once you double-team Jokic, everybody is on the string chasing. And you're supposed to have the team where you can switch everything. I put a lot of the blame on Doc Rivers for the defensive strategy against Jokic. What do you say to that?
I'll say this. The only problem I had with Doc Rivers' defensive strategy was not having Kawhi fight over screens to stay on Jamal Murray. I don't think they should have switched. Nobody else should have had the defensive responsibility of guarding Jamal Murray. When their coach took Murray out of the game, Doc should have taken Kawhi out of the game. But with that being said, Jokic is a bona fide star in this league now. I mean, he's no Luka, but he deserves a double team. And I ascribe to the idea that in the playoffs, superstars rise to another level. And you can't let those stars get hot because they can think back to what Kobe used to do in the playoffs. You let guys like that get hot, it's game over. So I think if you can contain Murray, you can contain Jokic, the role players are not going to beat you in a game 7, which last night technically they didn't. They didn't need to. So I have no problem with double teaming stars on Denver, so long as you can contain the other guys. The uncontested stuff is because you had slow rotations. And again, that comes down to players. Doc can't make guys rotate faster. He can't make them hustle. So I don't think that has anything to do with Doc. I mean, if you're late, get into your weak side rotation, that got nothing to do with Doc Rivers. Those guys are professionals.
I don't like the defensive strategy myself, me personally.
Yeah.
Justin Camper says LeBron carries the burden, but he shows up. Game 7 shows lack of leadership. I would say this. He got to get the blame today. He's a star player on the team, so he's going to get some blame. But let's not forget, LeBron had a few games where he didn't show up. He stood in the corner and pouted. You know, he against Dallas, he let JJ Barea DM up. So we're not going to act like LeBron haven't had his blunders as well. Yeah. But Kawhi have to take the heat for today. It was he's the star player. He has to take this one on the chin. He's a star player. He has to take it on the chin. So when he says LeBron shows up, say sometimes because it's not all the time.
And can we stop with the LeBron comparison? LeBron lost to inferior teams. And he lost in the finals to inferior teams. Like, I don't think anyone on planet Earth thinks that Dallas Mavericks team was better than the team that he had in Miami. I mean, I'm sorry. They just weren't. So let's stop with the LeBron comparisons because Kawhi's never lost to an inferior team. That Denver team was evenly matched. So that's why earning that top seed was important this year. And they didn't get the top seed. They had the tougher road to the conference finals.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's definitely a good point. Justin Perry says pathetic P. Clippers had a strong case of lemon booty for 2 consecutive closeout games. Lou Williams wasn't himself. He got to take some blame too. I don't know if Father Time catching up with him, but he was horrible. He was horrible as well. It was bad. It was bad all the way around.
He was, yeah.
I want to talk about the Nuggets, man. Let's talk. Let's give the Nuggets some love, and let's talk about these guys because I'm looking at this team, and they still don't play a lot of defense, but Jamal Murray was the best player on the floor. He looked younger, fresher, more athletic than all the Clippers. What did you think about the Nuggets, Jokic and Murray in particular?
You know, that's a duo that has the potential for being special. Like usually you look at teams like this and you'll say, or not say, but you'll try to think about what pieces are they missing that are going to take them to the next level. And when you look at this roster, I mean, Jeremy Grant, Gary Harris Jr., I mean, these dudes, Michael Porter Jr., excuse me, they got some ballers. I mean, they got dudes coming off the bench that would give any team buckets. I mean, they got 3 players on their bench that I would take over Russell Westbrook. I mean, so I think that the Nuggets, with the exception of Millsap, because we got to remember how old he is, but with the exception of Millsap, when he'll likely retire after this year, or maybe give him one more year. He'll have like a Serge Ibaka type season. I think that this team has the potential for making this type of run for the next 4 or 5 years, so long as they can re-sign guys and all that. We know contracts come into play, but he's young. He's hungry. He's not as fast and athletic and flashy. He's not a Jason Tatum type because I don't think he's as technically sound as a Tatum. I think Tatum patterns his game after Kobe, but I think this team has a lot of tools. We're going to see them get worked, obviously, in the next series. I don't see them taking them past Game 5. I don't think LeBron will let them win more than one game. I think Murray's got some heart, and he showed it. I think that coach has some fight, and he showed it. And I think they feed off of that coach. So I think that coach earned himself probably a 6-year extension with what he was able to do in these last three series. But I think that team is really a scary matchup for anyone, with the exception of the Lakers, because of the Lakers' size. And I know we always talk about small ball and jacking it up from 3 all the time, but I've always argued it don't matter how small, it doesn't matter how many threes you can make if you can't rebound, because you're not going to make every 3. And the Lakers got 3 7-footers. I don't know if a team has ever been that big in the history of basketball. They got 3 7-footers. I don't see anybody really. I think they're going to just pretty much waltz their way to a title this year.
I agree with that. Justin Perry said Dirk was unstoppable in 2011. Give the Mavericks more credit for that.
Dirk was. Not anyone else on that team. Who, Jason Terry? Who was Jason Terry better than the Heat?
And he was old. Jason Terry was old too. And let me say this though. I will say this. I knew I was worried about this game the moment I found out it was Mark Malone's birthday. When I found out it was his birthday, I said, they're gonna play hard. They're gonna play super hard. And I didn't call Denver winning that game, but I just knew it was going to be tough because it was his birthday. I was like, man, this is not good. This is not good. So
they play hard for him.
Yeah. Let's talk about Jokic and this series against the Lakers.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't see this series going long. They didn't play great defense against the Clippers. Clippers just got booty cheeks got tight and they couldn't stand the pressure.
So the reason I like, and this is the reason I was so upset. I wanted there to be a Western Conference Finals that went 7 games. The reason I don't think Denver is a good matchup for the Lakers is because Jokic is 7 foot. He's a great big man. Anthony Davis happens to be 7'1" and is a more athletic big. So the difference is the Clippers bigs, Montrezl Harrell and Zubac, could not guard Jokic on the perimeter. All he had to do was give one jab step. He's a dribble and he's by them. Jokic isn't going to be able to create that kind of separation from Anthony Davis. So I think because Jokic is going to now be neutralized, I don't really see Denver having a breakout offensive game. They're going to have to try to minimize possessions. They're going to need to use 20 seconds of the 24-second clock. They're going to have to find a way to slow the game down if they're going to have a chance against the Lakers. They cannot give that team extra possessions. I mean, it's going to have to go back to like high school ball. We rebound, we use the clock, and we're sound. We don't turn the ball over.
Just in case you're just joining us, we are talking about the Clippers collapse in Game 7. I want to know your thoughts. Who's to blame? Do I need to make changes? Share the video. Your people can see it. Make comments. We can talk about their comments. I see a lot of Laker fans tuning in. I know they're enjoying this because there was supposed to be a collision course between the Clippers and Lakers, and the Clippers didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
Nope.
I want to talk about Jokic, and I think he's going to be getting it. I got this funny feeling he's going to get in foul trouble against the Lakers, especially if they put him against Anthony Davis. I think he's going to get in foul trouble, and that's going to take them out of rhythm. Only chance they got if Jamal Murray just goes off. What's your pick and how many games? Are you picking the Lakers in 5?
It'd be a loss of money. I think it'll be a huge payday for somebody in Vegas. I got the Lakers in 5. And this isn't me trying to do some like backwards voodoo. I don't think Denver wins more than a game. The Lakers are too big, too strong. This is too deep into the playoffs for those veterans. I mean, Rondo's won a championship and been to 2 finals. LeBron's been to, has he been to 9 finals? 10? I don't know. LeBron's been to 1 million finals. Dwight's never been there and is hungry. AD's never been there and has been on bad teams, and New Orleans is hungry. I don't see this team getting this far and losing to this inexperienced of a Denver squad. Denver's athletic, and they'll play tough in Game 1. They'll throw some new wrinkles at them. They got a new coach that's never been in this position. But ultimately, we're talking about a 7-game series that's going to be over in 5. Denver might shock the world and win Game 1, and the Lakers will win the next 4. I do not see Denver winning more than a game. and I would bet $1,000 that they don't.
Lakers have been giving away game ones. It seems like they try to figure out their opponent in game one, and then after that, they kind of figure it out, and then they go from there. I'll tell you one thing: Denver can't go down 3-1 against the Lakers for sure, and think they can come back again. Let's move on, man. I want to talk about these Heat and Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Ooh. I don't know how the Heat are doing this. That was a great game to watch, but to me, the Heat got a whole bunch of try-hard guys. Like, they don't have no superstar per se. Oh. They got a whole bunch of try-hard guys, and they playing good basketball, man. Who did you have before the series? And then tell me about your thoughts about the game and the Bam Block. That's all I'm saying. I ain't gonna try to pronounce his last name. The Bam Block.
So you need to put some respect on Tyler Hero's name. I'm gonna say that.
What?
He's
a good player, but
we can roll the tapes back because the last time I was on, I think I said Tyler Hero is a name that y'all need to know. He's more than just a good player. So my heart, I want Boston. I've loved Jason Tatum for a long time. My godson's father and I got to work a camp with Kyrie Irving. Jason Tatum showed up the second day of the camp, so I got to meet him, and I think he's salt of the earth, and just seeing him interact with the kids. So I love me some Jason Tatum. So I've been cheering for Boston. So my heart says Boston, but you can't not watch Miami and say, "Oh, this is a scary team to play." Jimmy Butler. We've known Jimmy Butler has been that dude since Chicago. We saw him with glimpses in Philly, but we could tell he was unhappy in Philly. Now you got a dog with other dogs around him. You got Udonis Haslem on the bench, who's inspiring them dogs to follow their lead dog, Jimmy Butler's lead. I mean, when you got a team that can just that easily be motivated and will be ready to throw blows with anybody at the drop of a hat, who wants to play them? Now, Boston's got some dogs too. I mean, Marcus Smart is nobody to sneeze at, but this series goes 7. And I don't even know if I can make a pick, because do you pick against Jimmy Butler? But also it's like, do you pick against the depth of Boston? Because they might get the kid what's his name back?
Hayward.
Gordon Hayward. They might get Hayward back. So I didn't even really answer your question. What do I think about Miami? I don't think that they're a team comprised of nobodies that have no talent. I think Bam.
I didn't call them nobodies. I just call them a bunch of tryhards.
They trying hard because they hustle, because they don't play any games and they got talent. I think that you got talent, and when you hustle and you a dog, that's a combination that's built to make a run like Detroit back in the day. They looking like the New York Knicks with Patrick Ewing and Starks in them.
Brian Robinson says Lakers in 5. He's definitely a Laker fan. So I just want to put his comment out there. He called Lakers in 5. So
you think Boston's going? Where do you see the series going from here?
Remember my pick was the Celtics and the Clippers in the finals. Apparently, of course that's not going to happen now. The Clippers jacked that up. Mm-hmm. But I'm sticking with my pick, man. I'm sticking with my pick of Celtics, but I'm not feeling good. Like the Heat are playing good basketball, man, and I don't understand it because they don't have a. They reminded me of Detroit, of Billups, Hamilton, Prince, Wallace, but they're not as talented. That team, the Detroit team, was more talented than this team.
Yeah.
So, and like Tyler Hero's a rookie, Kendrick Nunn, rookie. Jimmy is not a superstar. He's a star. Bam, most improved. Like, you got a whole bunch of like rugged, good storylines. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Give me a team full of Kurt Rambises and Michael Coopers any day. I'll take the Kurt Rambises and Michael Coopers and Udonis Haslems of the world, and you can go take the Russell Westbrooks that are flashy, that'll fill a stat sheet, and that are going to lose. And you can throw in a James Harden, and I'll take a whole nother Marcus. I mean, this team is built with a bunch of dogs. There's really no other way to describe them.
Hold on, time out, because we said the Clippers had dogs as well, and look where they at now. I believe Montrezl Harrell was a dog. I believe Kawhi was a dog. I believe
Okay.
Patrick Beverly was a dog.
Okay.
What happened to those dogs?
Here's the difference. The Clippers got dogs, but you also got to be able to match up that dog with some talent. The Clippers didn't have a dog that could match Jokic. Everybody's looking at Murray because Murray's over here jacking it up and filling the stat sheet. It's about, we got to focus on Jokic. Jokic was the one that posed the matchup nightmare because he was a big that the Clippers could not guard on the perimeter. And if you have a big that you can't guard on the perimeter, they can either put it on the floor and go by you and finish at the rim, and it'll be uncontested because he's 7 feet. Or if you lag off of him hoping he'll drive, he can drain it from 3. I mean, the dude shot at a high percentage. The difference with Miami in Boston and Miami in Indiana, they didn't face any matchup nightmares. Oladipo, he's a joke compared to Jimmy Butler. And in this team, the difference, so Boston now, this is a good matchup for them. I personally think Boston is more talented than Miami. So now this is the real matchup of talent versus hustle and desire. And we're going to see what wins out. But the difference, I don't see as there's a major physical difference between these two squads. Whereas the Clippers, I saw a major physical difference. Montrez and Zubac couldn't guard the Nuggets big on the perimeter the same way that I see Miami being able to guard Boston in all 5 positions.
So who you got in the Boston Miami series?
I originally said I think Boston will come out of the East, and I'm sticking to that. And my reason originally for saying that, because I think this was before Gordon Hayward got hurt again. I think this is like his 4th major injury in his career. So it's interesting they've had this success even without Gordon Hayward, but I still pick Boston because if they get Hayward back like game 3, that team, I mean, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, who I think is the best going to be, he's up there with the Devin Harrises of the world. I mean, Kemba Walker, that team is stacked. And you got my man that just left Portland last year, big dude, I forget his name, but like that team, yeah, I got Boston, but I got Boston in 7. I can't see them winning consecutive games, which they'll obviously have to do since they're down a game, but I don't see that happening until like 6, 7.
Got you. Just in case people that's just joining in, we talking NBA playoffs. We talked about the Clippers and Nuggets. The Clippers collapse. Jokic and Murray going off. We now talking about the Celtics and Heat. Who do you all have in both series? I know that the Boston-Miami series already got underway, so you can kind of cheat a little bit. And Miami is up 1-0. Tell me your thoughts, and we're going to post it on the live. So who do you got and why? And then do the Nuggets have any chance of beating the Lakers? Let me know. Or was it just a bad matchup for the Clippers? That's why they was able to do that. Justin Perez says Gordon Hayward is MAGA. Ain't no way you can root for the Celtics.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is Gordon Hayward a Trump supporter? Oh man,
Justin Perez over there causing problems, man. Hey, I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to get to a story that I thought was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Maya Moore story.
Mm-hmm.
And just in case you don't know what we're talking about, Maya Moore retired or quit the WNBA to work with social justice causes, and specifically to work on a case to get a certain individual out of jail. I think his name Jonathan Irons. And today just came out that now they're married. And so first, I want to get your thoughts first, but I also want to know, like, okay, was this something behind the scenes? Was it all about social justice, or was it because they were, I guess, romantically, and I wouldn't say involved because he was in jail, but they had some romantic feelings towards each other. So it was a little extra. It was a little extra to get him out of jail. What were your thoughts about when it came out?
So when I mean, first my jaw dropped, and I just kind of stared at the phone like, is this real life? Like, you just see some news that's just like, what? And my next thought was, it makes sense. I mean, you got to think about it. So she helped, I think, work on this case for almost 2 years. You think about the emotional tax that plays. You think about just how close he probably confided in her. I don't think that there was anything nefarious or other intent related to the passion in which she pursued achieving justice here. I think it was coincidental. I think when you're working with someone closely for an extended period of time, it can possibly happen. And I think it happened here organically. I don't think that she chose his case because there was a particular attraction or she knew anything about him. I think she read about it, probably saw some of the evidence and pursued justice. And because she worked with them closely, they got close over time. And I think they just figured, you know what, let's not give this a try.
Bro, I don't know. It's a real suspect, man. Real suspect. All of a sudden, now they married. Like, I believe that, and it says that, I guess they met when she was 18. So, like, I think they met. So he's 40, she's 31. And I think they met when she was 18. So he was probably 27, if I'm doing the math correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that my question is, you don't see no underlining, like it wasn't nothing. It was legit about, okay, he's wrongly convicted. I want to help him.
Uh-huh.
To me, it seemed like, I might have met him. I'm kind of feeling you, so I'm gonna put my career on hold to pursue you getting out of jail, so we can be together. I mean, how else can you take that when it comes? I've never heard a story where somebody got somebody out of jail and then you get married. That doesn't seem real suspect.
It doesn't.
Real suspect.
That's almost, I guess, because I believe in love, and I don't know, I guess an endless romantic. I think that they stayed in contact, and she might have fell for him like throughout the judicial process and throughout the appeals process. And so maybe they had kind of intimated to each other that there may be an interest, and that could have been some additional incentive. But do I think that she pursued this initially with the aspiration of them coming together? No, I'm not that cynical.
Hey, Jonathan Golson says very suspect. Jonathan Golson says very suspect. I'm just saying, man. Hey, and then it's like, okay, did she feel sorry for him? Like, was it like, oh, I feel sorry for you, so let me try to help you out. So it's real suspect, man. Hey, I guess we'll find out more, but if she doesn't get involved in any more social causes and this was just it, then we know for a fact that it was something else going on. Wasn't just
true. If she worked on this for years, she doesn't deserve to take a break from working on other people's causes over her own. You're married. She's got a family she's got to worry about. She's got to make sure that marriage is strong. That's her first priority.
I hope it lasts. Let's get to some NFL news, man. Are you still boycotting the NFL?
Till I die. Unless it gets owned by other people, unless we get some black owners in there. We got 11 black starting quarterbacks and 2 black head coaches. So unless some of that changes, unless they stop letting rapists in the league, so maybe that'll change my mind if that stuff changes.
Well, let me give you an update of some stuff that's going on.
Right.
Going around. I'm gonna go around some of the big games. So the Thursday night game, Kansas City and Houston. I know you probably heard that the fans were booing when they were standing up, locking arms, but the fans booed. But other than that, Kansas City still rocking and rolling their offense. Patrick Mahomes up and down the field, doing great things. So they still look great. Let's see. I'm gonna go to my Bears. My Bears won. They in comeback fashion. They was down double digits in the fourth quarter, and Mitch made some plays, but still looks suspect. And then it came out yesterday. Allen Robinson is unhappy with his contract situation. It was reports said he wanted to trade. Now they're saying he's just unhappy. So that's not a good look for my Bears. Some other storylines. Seattle looked good. Russell Wilson played great, and Cam Newton got his chain snatched after the Miami game. Yeah. Got a chain snatched. Somebody tried to snatch his chain. It was a big deal. And Tom Brady and the Saints. The Saints beat Tampa Bay, and Tom Brady threw a pick six, 2 interceptions, and he looked pretty bad, but it could have just be rust or a new team. So, and San Fran lost to Arizona. DeAndre Hopkins looked real good in his new team with the Cardinals. So those I think those were some highlight games.
Or
yeah,
was it rust on Tom Brady, or was it he no longer has the protection of a cheating coach, and maybe people been overrating Tom Brady for the last 10 years because of that vaunted defense and Bill Belichick? Now we get to actually see what Tom Brady can do, absent the New England. I mean, absent that. I mean, he's got all of that, the apparatus of the Patriots behind him. Now he's actually playing with some regular cats, and we'll see if he's supposed to be the GOAT. Then he should be able to win with all those. I mean, they just picked up Leonard Fournette. They got some stars in that offense too down in Tampa. He's the GOAT. He should be able to win with that squad.
They definitely got some weapons. I'm thinking he's also getting old. He's in his 40s. I mean, it ain't like he's a spring chicken. He's getting older. So I think that plays a part. What's going on. But yeah, he didn't. And if you didn't watch the game, but when I was watching the game, you could tell he was getting happy feet in the pocket. Any sense of a little pressure, he was getting a little shaky, a little fidgety. And so that's not good. But we'll see how it goes later on as the season goes on. Let's see. Justin Perry says, Tom Brady is the greatest system QB of all time.
System QB. That's fair.
Yeah. So we're going to see Belichick or Brady, who has a better record, who has a better season. And right now, Brady is up 1-0 on the season so far. So we're going to see what happens with that.
The Patriots are up 1-0. Belichick is up 1-0.
Yeah, I'm saying Belichick versus Brady.
Oh, I thought you said Brady was up 1-0. Sorry.
I probably did. Well, Belichick is up 1-0. Belichick is up 1-0. Anybody who's following the NFL, y'all can comment your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on what your favorite team, what you think about what's going on with your favorite team. And
thinking, so let's say Tom Brady goes 6-9 this year. Are you going to accept, or I will be 6-10? Sorry. Would you accept his age as the excuse given for his failures?
I will have to watch the game and see how they lose. I will watch the game and see how they lose, and then I can make my judgment, because it's a lot of factor that goes into,
Okay, that's fair.
Games. But like you say, hey, I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I'm not a Patriots fan. I definitely thought there was a lot of cheating going on with them rings and all of that stuff. So hey, I won't be rooting for either one of them, but it's going to be interesting to see what's going on. Justin Perry says Belichick was right on Brady and Gostkowski. Both look washed. Oh yeah, the kicker Gostkowski missed like 3 field goals, but he ended up making the one that counted. So yeah.
Wait, who does he play for now? The kicker.
Who I want to say? Geez, it's going. I'm drawing a blank. Let me look at these. This picture.
Wow,
he played with Tennessee. Tennessee Titans. Yeah, they won an ugly game, 16-14.
I saw the picture that Derrick Henry had on with the names.
Yeah, he did. He represented all the names. Anybody who's watching the NFL, give me your thoughts on your favorite team. If you are a Bears fan and you saw the Allen Robinson story, give me your thoughts on that. How is it going to end up with the Bears? It's not good when you get a first W and then the next day your wide receiver talks about you want to get traded. And I know you didn't see this. So his agent retweeted somebody who made a commercial about being a wide receiver that has a quarterback that can't get him the ball. It's just bad. It's bad, and his agent retweeted it. So Allen Robinson and Mr. Trubisky already know that they're not going to have a good relationship after that, and it's not good. Some news broke today. I want to hear your thoughts about is that college football, the Big Ten, will be coming back October 24th, I believe, and then NCAA and men's and women's basketball to start on the 25th of November. So first, what are your thoughts about the Big Ten coming back? The Big Ten October 24th, I believe.
So they're not even trying to hide the partisan influence or persuasion here. The day after the president remarks that the Big Ten should return, the Big Ten decides that they're going to return to football. I mean, what are we doing here? We're still in the middle of a pandemic that never saw a decrease in case count. And for the schools that have gone back, whether it's North Carolina, the school in Alabama, and I forget that they're like the schools that have gone back have had outbreaks because this is a virus that can easily be spread in the air. But yet we're going to allow one individual who does not care about our physical well-being to dictate the terms of sports. To like, people at the end of the day have to remember these are student athletes, and if we take off the part student, that second half of that title has to do with entertainment. Is our desire to be entertained more important than the desire to have college kids remain healthy? So
yeah, it was definitely some political, and everybody's saying it's politics involved in this decision. It was definitely right after Trump made his comments. Justin Perry says Mr. Trubisky or Josh Allen, who misses wide open receivers more? I see more of Mr. Trubisky, so I got to go with Mr. Trubisky, but I haven't watched a lot of Josh Allen yet. Victor Legron says week 1, so no overreaction. He's not going to overreact to any of the games this first week. And Jonathan Ghost says Saints are that deal, so not surprised that they made Tom Brady look bad.
That's fair.
Yeah, Saints got a good team. Saints definitely got a good team.
Sorry. We can say on Big Ten because I had an NFL comment.
Go ahead.
So I'm not going to overreact, but as a person who really just looks at box scores, so I can stay aware of like how folks are progressing through the season, when I read the Patriots box score and I see that Cam Newton only had an opportunity to throw the ball with 13, I think he was 10 for 13, so he was efficient, a little over 100 yards, but he had like he led the team in carries. This is now the face of your franchise. He was voted by his teammates to be one of the captains. No one probably works harder than this man in the offseason because he's got some mental demons that he's got to fight because he has haters and people who are and doubters that he's trying to prove wrong. Why would you not protect this man better? Why is your franchise quarterback carrying the ball more than your running backs combined? Why? This is dumb. They can win without Cam Newton carrying the ball double-digit times a game.
Let me tell you what's going on. He's only on a 1-year deal, minimum contract. You think they really care? When you say franchise, he's not like a regular franchise like they drafted him to be there long term. He's on a 1-year deal. So they're going to use him, abuse him. If he survives, that's good. If he don't, they can get rid of him. That's how that's going to work. But they're gonna play to his strengths, but they're not worried. He might not make it through the season. They don't care. He's on a 1-year minimum deal. So yeah. What's your thoughts about the men's and women's college basketball starting on November 25th?
So to me, this is why I don't have the same, I guess, visceral reaction to the news of basketball, because so long as we continue to leave fans out of the stadium, so we avoid these crowds of tens of thousands of people, I could theoretically see basketball creating a bubble. But the problem is we're not talking about just like a March Madness tournament. We're actually talking about basketball returning in full swing. They're going to be traveling. They're going to be interacting. I don't know how athletic departments are going to be able to keep these athletes protected. I just don't. And once you have one person contract the virus, they're out of, I mean, they essentially are out of competition for the next 21 days. So I don't see this being a long-term solution absent the creation of bubbles similar to what the National Basketball Association did.
Victor Legron says it's money motivated. I don't know if he's talking about the basketball or the football, but both of them could be considered money motivated for sure. A lot of these
players.
Say that again.
Then they need to start paying these players. Like, if you're going to treat them like commodities, then pay them like the commodities that they are.
Now, the crazy part of it about it now is I don't know if they're going to be able to do that because I think the universities lost so much money. Now, who knows if they're going to get paid? I think it's going to be tough to pay the players now because a lot of these universities can't even survive after this pandemic, like especially these small schools that's not making that much money as the big, the Power 5 conferences.
Yeah.
So it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. But it seems like everything is starting to come back slowly but surely. I'm not the biggest college sports fan myself anyway, so it really didn't matter to me if they.
I love me some college football.
Really, you do?
I'm college football, NBA. Whereas a lot of people are college basketball and NFL. I love me some college football. I'm a Tennessee Volunteers fan through and through. I follow them on all social media. My parents are born and raised in Chattanooga, so I grew up a Volunteer fan. My dog has her Tennessee Volunteer blanket since the time she was 6 weeks old. I love that. I love that institution.
I'm all about the pros. I watch the college when it gets down to the tournaments. I'm sorry, that's just me. So
it's better basketball. There's camaraderie. The college basketball game, they're a family. The crowds are better. The coaching is better. I mean, there's emotion. They're kids. I mean, I love college basketball. There's nothing like college basketball.
Victor Legron says I was referencing the Big Ten with a money motivated comment. So he's talking about the Big Ten. That definitely seemed like money. I think the Big Ten, seeing these other schools, the SEC, and all of these, they were like, you know what? We need to go ahead and just get back on this field and get this money, especially this TV money. So I think that's definitely a good point by Vic. Money motivated for sure. Well, listen here. Victor Legron says, I'm a college football fan, but not at the expense of the safety of the kids. Facts. All facts.
I agree. I got to meet Victor because, I feel like I've been with most of his comments today.
Yeah. I think he's been on the show with you before, right?
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You know who he is. Yeah. I've had him on a few times. So the brother's very opinionated and knowledgeable about his all sports all around. So, listen, we're gonna go a little short today, but it's okay. First, to come to church to me is plain and simple. That today is but put all your trust in God and everything that you do. Stuff get hard. Don't faint. God is your source. God is your source. So don't put him first, and remember, God is your source. I know a lot of people have lost jobs during this pandemic, but he is your source. He's your sustainer. So don't lose focus on him, and he will get you through. Always remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow, like, review our page. Tell me your thoughts about the show, your likes, dislikes. Follow us on Instagram. Listen, we got merch for sale. I got a baseball jersey on. So we got basketball jerseys, baseball jerseys, shirts, and the whole nine. If you want to advertise, somebody that got a business and would like to advertise, they can get their logo on the show, get an interview, tell my audience about their business. All they have to do is message me, and we can get that set up. And follow the podcast. So if you missed the show and you want to just listen to the podcast, where you can like fast forward to certain topics that you want to hear. Look up the Allen Pals on all your podcast outlets and follow us on the podcast scene. So, man, we got some big games coming up. Game 2 for the Heat and Celtics, I believe, tomorrow. And then the Western Conference Finals will start Friday, and we will see what happens. Thank you, brother, again for holding us down in LA. Check out this brother on the Truth Hour every Tuesday. Let me see, 4:30 Pacific.
Yep.
6:30 Central.
6:30 Central. Yep.
All things politics, he will get you right. He's very knowledgeable. He will give you the latest and what's going on in the crazy world of politics. So check him out every Tuesday. Go ahead.
This isn't even a plug for anything that I'm doing. I just want to hope people keep citizens in Portland and Oregon in their thoughts, and even in my state in California, and also with the fires, smoke, the air quality is still really bad up in Oregon, and I got a lot of people up there still. So just thinking about them, and also keep the folks down in the southeastern part of this country who are getting hit with the hurricane and then the floods that are going to come afterwards. Mississippi's already been hit, so think about them. If you pray, please do that, and just try to stay together in this time because we're dealing with a whole lot. We got pandemic, we got wildfires, we got hurricanes all in one. So this is a rough year. Hopefully we'll pull through this thinking about each other.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So once again, I thank everyone for tuning in. Appreciate all the support and love. We're about to get ready to get up out of here. And we will see y'all sometime next week. I don't know when, but sometime next week, we're going to find a day. Once this basketball schedule gets settled, we're going to find a day. So we'll see y'all next week. We out.